There's been a lot of toys planned that never got released, and some of those prototype toys have ended up in collectors' hands, and then some are lost forever. Welcome back to the Junk Room, everybody. It's me, the Junkman, coming back at you with another video. Today we're going to look at 10. That's right, 10. 1, 2, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 toys slash action figures, because they're not all action figures, most are, that not only did they not get released, they're prototypes. Although photoed and everything else, had never been found. A lot of prototypes throughout the years have been found and ended up in lucky collectors' hands. Man, that would be cool to have some prototypes. But these right here, as cool as they are, they've never been found. They may be in some collector's display somewhere, and he's keeping a low key on that, not letting people know he has it. Maybe most of them probably got trashed or cut up and reused into some other prototype later on. And some of these are very cool lines that I really wish did get released. But let's start looking at these action. But for this list, let's go over to the He-Man collection. Now, when I think He-Man, I think of the early 80s Mattel He-Man line. But this is from the 90s, the new adventure of He-Man, when they tried to reboot He-Man. Well, let's take a look at this figure. This figure was based on a character that was supposed to be He-Man's mentor. He was the leader of the Galactic Council. Whew, that sounds like something you would see in the prequels. Anyway, he decided to go back in time to Eternia to find He-Man. The figure was shown off in the 1989 Mattel catalog. However, due to changes in the story, Darius never made it into the He-Man show, and the planned character was retooled and renamed, so it was never released. The prototype did appear on eBay a few years ago, but then just disappeared off eBay, with no one knowing what happened, or even if it was sold. I never really got into that new He-Man line. It just didn't sit right with me. I was like, you don't reboot He-Man! And this was the 90s. I was moving on from He-Man. He-Man went through this phase, late 80s, early 90s, where people were like, He-Man, who likes that crap? And then people fell in love with it again. Late 90s and more into the 2000s, when we were starting to grow up and realize He-Man was pretty darn cool. So, what else is pretty darn cool? The Fifth Element. Well, I'll be honest with you, I don't really like the Fifth Element. I know a lot of you guys do. I like the first half of it. By the time Smokey comes into it, it just gets on my nerves too much. I just can't watch the movie anymore. Chris Tucker, I couldn't think of his name. I really like the first half of this movie, but once that character comes in, it's just too much. People complain about, the same people that hate Willie Scott have no problem with Chris Tucker in The Fifth Element. So, I really don't like, I love Luc Besson. I love him as a director. Well, I say that, but I love The Professional, and I don't think I've loved anything else he's done since then, so maybe I can't say I love him as a director. But let's look at the Fifth Element figures that we didn't get. These Fifth Element figures were planned to be released by N2 Toys. In 2001, they showed off the toy line at Toy Fair, and they look really well done. The line was planned for a 2001 release, but was then pushed back to 2002. And at that same time, N2 Toys was having financial issues and would soon go out of business, leaving the figure line never released, and the prototypes had never been seen again. Now, one of the coolest sci-fi television shows in the 80s for me was V. The series really didn't last long, but V, if you were around when V came out, when they first did the miniseries, it was huge hype. This thing was huge. You thought the series would be a huge blast, but it just never really caught on. But I love V. I even got this shirt at junkmanmerch.com. Go check it out. Anyway, LGM planned to release V action figures. Not just action figures, but even vehicles and ships. Let's take a look. As I said, the made-for-television miniseries was a huge hit in the 80s. It even spawned a second miniseries and then a weekly television series. However, that TV series never really could find its footing and would even lose ratings with each episode. In 1985, LJN showed off their upcoming V action figure line, along with the vehicles. When the series was canceled, LJN pulled out from releasing the figures, with only a 12-inch action figure hitting the market. The figures and vehicles have not been seen since this photo in 1985. Those would have been awesome to have. Well, you remember Mr. T? Who didn't love Mr. T? And after the A-Team, did you know he had his own series? I didn't know that. It ran for 3 seasons, and it was called TNT. I didn't even know about this till today. I don't know how I missed 3 seasons of TNT, but apparently, yeah, I didn't even know Mr. T had his own show after the A-Team, and almost his own toy line. The show starred Mr. T as T.S. Turner, after being framed for a crime he didn't commit. Kind of sounds like the A-Team, doesn't it? He teams up with Amy Taylor, his lawyer, and the two become private detectives to help others clear their name. Little is known about this planned toy line, very little. An image appears in the 1989 Galoob production catalog. Nothing from Galoob is ever spoken again about this toy line. However, the figure seen here may never have actually been made. Galoob had already released a 12-inch Mr. T action figure in 1983. This is most likely that same figure with new clothes. But the clothes, or the Mr. T wearing the clothes, have never been found. Now, by far one of the coolest science fiction movies of the 80s was Ice Pirates, but the second coolest might have been The Last Starfighter. Why didn't we get these? Why didn't we get these? In 1984, the film The Last Starfighter was released. It wasn't a hit like the studio hoped, but over the years it's become an 80s cult classic. When the film failed to do the box office that Galoob hoped, they pulled out, with fans only getting a hint of what might have been thanks to this Galoob catalog. There was a rumor that the prototypes were in the hands of a special effects artist that found religion and was selling off anything from his past. However, those rumors were quickly shot down as it was found out that those figures were custom made using MASH and other figures. Sadly, these prototypes from The Last Starfighter has never been found. Now, I know with the last few years we've gotten a lot of Freddy Krueger, Leatherface, Jason Voorhees. So, do we really need more? Well, we almost got a Series 5 of Cinema of Fear. Mezco was having a good success with their Cinema of Fear line, bringing horror movie heroes to the toy market. These were very well detailed 6-inch figures aimed to the collector. In 2010, they showed off their Series 5 line, Leatherface from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3, and a figure of Michael Myers in Ragged Hobo Jacket. Then, out of the blue, Series line was canceled, with no real explanation as to why, and the figures never got released. However, the Michael Myers and Ragged Hobo Jacket did appear on eBay, but then just disappeared. It's unknown what happened to it. I only put this on the list so I can say Ragged Hobo Jacket. I love saying it. Well, let's talk more slasher films. What if they made a water gun based on Freddy Krueger and Jason Voorhees? Yep, we almost got that. One thing kids love growing up is water guns, and the other is R-rated slasher films. Put them together and we almost had the Freddy Krueger and Jason water gun. The guns were shown off in the LJN production catalog in 1989. Freddy would fire water out of his claw hand, and Jason would swing down an axe to fire the water. The guns would have been made by Intertech, a subdivision of LJN. But that company has seen sales drop over the last 2 years after reports of kids being killed by cops while playing with water guns. And LJN would soon abandon their whole toy plans and focus more on video games. The prototypes of these two water guns have never been seen again. Water guns, lost in time. Sad, sad day. Well, let's talk about Darkwing Duck. Other than the title, I really don't know what this is. I've never seen it. I was way too old for it when it came out, but I'm sure some of you that were probably around 8 or 9 in 1991, you're all excited. I can't believe it. The Junkman's talking about Darkwing Duck. Well, let's talk about it. The Disney Duck cartoon series lasted 1 season, but Playmates did release Wave 1 of action figures, with 13 figures for Wave 2 planned. Wave 2 was shown off in their catalog, but Disney terminated their contract with Playmates for unknown reasons, leaving Wave 2 unreleased. The prototypes have never surfaced, and like all the other ones we talked about, has been lost forever. 13 more figures could have been added to the Darkwing Duck collection. Now, here's one I did a whole video about, but I thought I'd bring it up in this video also because it fits with the topic. And it's Kenner Star Wars related. The 3PO walkie-talkie. Kenner planned to release this 3PO walkie-talkie, and it was shown off along with the box in a 1978 Star Wars Kenner catalog. Although very early wooden prototypes have been found, the actual product or its box has never been discovered. For some unknown reason, Kenner canceled the plans and it seemed to be forgotten. That was until around 1992 when an ad appeared in Toy Shop magazine showing one off for sale. Other collectors that know the seller that posted the ad in Toy Shop said that he was famous for listing things he didn't have to get people to call, and he would tell them it was sold out and then try to sell them something else. So maybe he never had it at all. Would it be kind of cool to have the prototype sitting back there saying, look, I found it. The guy selling it was in Florida. If anyone knows what happened to it, let me know. Okay, let's save the best for last. Mad Max. This is another line that was planned to be released by N2 Toys before they closed down. At the 1999 San Diego Comic-Con, N2 Toys showed off their Road Warrior line, and it did get released. Then, for Toy Fair 2002, they showed off their next plans for Mad Max with a vehicle, and they even started to take pre-orders online. Also shown off with the Gyro Captain Gyrocopter. Try to say that 6 times real fast. A Mad Max slot car set, a 12-inch series of figures based on Mad Max, Warrior Woman, and Thunderdome was also planned. With N2 Toys hitting hard times in 2000, they canceled their plans for the Mad Max follow-up, and sadly N2 Toys closed down business, leaving these prototypes lost forever. There's 2 things I would love to have in this world right now. A Mad Max prototype vehicle and a PB Max. I haven't had a PB Max in about 37 years. Anyway, that's a look at 10 lost prototypes. Who knows, maybe they're out there. Maybe they're in a collector's hand. Maybe there's some in toy designers' basement. Who knows where they are? If you know in the comments, let me know. If you have them, I'll take them off your hand, even if it's Darkwing Duck. Anyway, that's a look at 10 lost prototypes. In the comments below, let me know what you think. And until the next video, thumb up this one so I know you like my content, subscribe to the channel, and we'll talk again soon.
Junkman.
Thank you, sir, for that unsolicited testimony.